Vincent Curatola. Vincent, it is
Hiya,
so
Vicki.
good to have you here.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
Maureen's in the room, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. You made smoking so sexy. I was a smoker and I just hit 38 years not smoking.
Yeah.
But
God bless you.
I just re-binged The Sopranos a few months ago, and I have not wanted a cigarette in 38 years till I watched you smoke them. Oh my God.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Vicki. I quit. I quit 3 or 4 weeks before my final episode. And in my final episode, stage 5, they're making me smoke. So I called Terry Winter, our head writer who wrote, I said, listen, Terry, I told you weeks ago, I quit. No, I said, don't worry about it. We're going to get you the cabbage-filled cigarette. They're like, bleh. Yeah. So I did that. I was good with that. But Vicki, I literally have people walk up to me in the street, Manhattan, no matter where I am.
Yeah.
Telling me I've quit smoking, but you made it look so glorious. I picked it up again. I feel sorry.
No.
True story. True story.
Oh my God. Well, I have to say, I kind of felt that. I didn't do it, but wow.
I felt badly when I heard that. Many times I heard that.
So you quit during the run of The Sopranos?
Yes, I did. When they saw me smoking in my first episode, which was only supposed to be my one and only episode.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
It just entered into their head that I should smoke. And that cigarette, Vicki, was a very close friend to Johnny Sack. It calmed him down.
Oh, hell yes, it was.
So they became very close, him and the cigarette.
So how did you, all right, so they gave you the cabbage cigarettes, but you're still having to inhale it. That would have been torture for me. I hate the way those tasted.
It was just horror. It was just, and here I am with the great Sidney Pollack, who they brought in for a part. And I'm saying to myself, if I could just light a real one, this would go so much better in my brain. It's just something about real, nicotine just relaxes you, obviously.
Yeah.
That's why we used it,
Yeah.
But, I got through it. I got through it with the cabbage. And then for about a year, I did nothing. And then after that, I started smoking cigars. I've subsequently quit those though.
Okay, but for me, the smoke going through my lungs was the whole thing, right? So if you've still got smoke going through your lungs, wasn't it keeping the addiction alive for you?
Because the addiction, Vicki, the addiction is the nicotine. It's not the smoke. So that's why Nicorette gum helped me so much. Because of the nicotine going right into my saliva and then into my bloodstream. And it kept me calm,
So all during shooting for The Sopranos, you're just smoking away. Wow. Yeah. Did you smoke in your audition?
No, I did not. But, once I went into production, how you have a scene and then you stop and they have to turn around. They may turn around days later.
Right.
So the prop people are looking, they'll photograph the cigarette and they'll say it was halfway down. So now we have to cut them for Vince, light it, because on the reverse,
right.
You don't want somebody knowing, oh, he had a whole one now, still one, right?
Right.
So that was a big production in and of itself.
Okay, so we have to talk about this because I know that you did not start out being an actor. This came to you later in life. Okay, so you're a little kid. You grew up not where you are now in Jersey. Where did you grow up?
Englewood, New Jersey.
Englewood.
Right near the George Washington Bridge.
And you came from not rich, but you were.
I came from an ambitious parents, ambitious grandparents. Let's put it that way. Very hardworking people.
What were your grandparents? Where were your grandparents from?
My grandfather was from Messina in Sicily. My grandmother was from Palermo, but they got married there, came and settled on the Lower East Side. They were kids. They had like no accent. That's how young they were when they got here. Really.
Wow.
Yeah. My grandmother.
Did they have to go through
Ellis Island?
Yeah.
Ellis Island.
Mm-hmm.
And which I wish people would go through it today, but they don't. That's another program.
So
Anyway.
they came here.
Yeah.
And why New Jersey? Why did they land in?
Well, they went to New York. They went to the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and then because of the confines of those small apartments, eventually, they looked across the Hudson River and said, "Oh my God, look at New Jersey. There's more room. It's less expensive." They moved here. They went to the textile business, but my grandmother, at 16, 17, was a phenomenal cook. And she worked in a little restaurant down in the village, in the kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And her two steady customers were Fiorello LaGuardia and Enrico Caruso.
Wow.
So when they came in for lunch, which was quite often, they would always say to the owner, "Is Maria in the kitchen?" "Well, why, senor? We can take care of it." No. They would always want my grandmother to come out from the kitchen, which used to insult the owner.
Wow.
And they would say, "Maria, I feel like having risotto, this type of a mushroom, not the other kind of mushroom, you know what I'm talking." And they would do the whole bit. An hour later, food would be on the table. But she never went into it. She went into her own textile business with my grandfather, embroidery and lace.
And how did she do that? How did she have that gift?
The cooking?
The embroidery and lace. I mean,
the
cooking,
embroidery and lace. Well,
Yeah.
They bought a small factory. They did lace finishing. They did collars and yokes and all this other stuff for manufacturers. I don't know how or why she got into it. I was hoping she would go into the restaurant business. She didn't. But, here we are. But they had one daughter, my mother, an only child. And but my mother was born here. My father was born in Reggio Calabria. Came here when he was 19. They immediately drafted him into the army for World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He never went back to visit. He couldn't care less. He was as American as apple pie. Loved it. Him and his 4 brothers and 1 sister. And never even went to visit. Couldn't care. He built a huge business, a huge masonry business. Very hardworking man, very honest.
And what brought him to that business? Did he grow up in it?
You know what, Vicki? Many years ago, you couldn't just come to the United States. My grandfather in Calabria had written letters to different craftsmen here in northern New Jersey, said, "Listen, I have 5 sons. I cannot afford to put them through university. But the only way they can come to America is if they have an apprentice program. Would you take them on?" So 4 of them went into masonry and stone. 1 went into, they called it cabinet making, but we're not talking kitchen cabinets. We're talking about break fronts made by hand. That's what they call cabinet making. So they all came here that way, except the girl. She got married. She went to Argentina. You couldn't come directly here unless you had a trade. Her and her husband, Italian guy also. They loved Argentina. They stayed there. But that's how my father, as I said, he was 19, got here. And in those days, you had to have confirmation from a business owner that you were going to employ this man and this man.
Right.
And the government came around every few months.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "You still have, let me see his paycheck. You still have him here, or did he disappear? We want to know." They tracked you.
Mm-hmm.
They tracked you. Not like today where it's,
So your father had like this incredible work ethic. I mean, he built
tremendously hard, very quiet man, extremely quiet man, very stoic. Became a widower, unfortunately, when he was 45, she was 39. We all lived together in one house. He never hung out, not the type, and passed at 82 years of age. As a matter of fact, we brought him to, I don't know how many Soprano premieres in Manhattan. We were the only show that had huge theater, what they call premieres.
Wow.
They used to walk up to people and say, "I'm the father."
Oh, so he was proud of you.
He was a gem. He really was. He really was. Yeah.
So was your family created? Was there talent? Was there singing in your house?
No, there was no singing. There was my grandfather, who I mentioned to you, my mother's father, who came from Sicily. When he was 2 years old, he was an orphan. His parents were alive. They were very young, but they were very ill.
Oh.
They had to give him up. They gave him up to a Jesuit seminary in Sicily, Jesuit priests. And they raised him and they taught him calligraphy, fabulous painter and a remarkable artist. That was his thing. He then, when he came to the United States, he became an editorialist for an Italian paper at the time called Il Progresso. And he was with them for a long time, and he was creative as an artist, but there was no performing artist in my family. I'm the only one.
Well, art is art, though.
Art is art. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And so, your mother, I assume, was not alive. Well, clearly was not alive when you started your career in show business.
No, she wasn't. No, but my mother insisted that I go to prep school in Manhattan. She had me take the exam for Loyola, and I passed it. I was stunned that I got into this school. Stunned. Park Avenue and 83rd. This was a big deal. Okay.
Right.
And she passed 2 days into my freshman year, and I immediately wanted to pull out because I just couldn't handle the commute. I was upset, but I stayed, in her memory, whatever. But she said to me very clearly, she's a very bright woman, a businesswoman. She said, Vincent, you want anything to happen in your life, you've got to be in New York.
Wow.
That was a statement that I'll never forget. And so with the grace of God, I made my career in New York. And I guess they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So
that's what they say. But okay, but what was your life? Because you were in late 30s.
I was 39. I was 39 when Maureen, my wife, said to me, Michael Moriarty teaches acting in Manhattan.
Wait, what were you do? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Vincent.
I owned a masonry
what were you do?
I owned a masonry company, very small, not like my father, very, very small. And
you didn't work for your father?
No, I never did. No, he was just too big.
Okay, but wait, before we get into how you started to become an actor, from what I understand, you had stars in your eyes because when you were a kid, you worked, correct?
I was a paper boy.
You were a paper boy. And who were some of the people you were delivering papers to?
Dizzy Gillespie, Sarah Vaughan, Tony Bennett, Jerry Vale, Wilson Pickett, Andre Previn,
Unbelievable.
Leslie Gore. Oh, the Isley Brothers.
So many musicians. That's wild.
Englewood was hot with musicians. It really was.
And would they talk to you? Did you have interaction?
Oh, yeah.
With them?
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, sure. Absolutely, they did. Here I was a kid, and it's like a Monday afternoon, and I'm collecting for the newspaper. You collect once a week, and I'm looking at Tony Bennett riding his bicycle past my house to go to Jerry Vale's house for coffee, and they're both my customers, and I got to collect from both of them this afternoon. I mean, it was wild. It was wild.
Wow.
Because, you had a lot of variety shows on those days. Ed Sullivan, Andy Williams.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking at these people. I'm going, oh, yeah, he's over here. He's right across the street. It was crazy.
Wow.
And then one Sunday afternoon, guy across the street from our home had a big party. He put up tents and the this and the bop, the beep, the boop. And who's the singer? Bobby Darin.
Oh.
And I said to my mother, what the hell is Bobby Darin doing singing on the lawn? And it turned out this guy had like a piece of his recording contract. So he went to do him a favor. I mean, this was ridiculous.
Wow.
So I got the bug and I figured, I'm going to go in the music business. I went into another part of this business, obviously, but I'm roaming back to the music end of it little by little.
Good.
So
did you sing when you were a kid?
I was actually in a rock band that we were very busy. And because I'm 6 feet tall, they used to, I wasn't old. You had to be 18 to work in places that served liquor.
Right.
I was tall, and they put me in the back with one of the guitars, and I had shades on. And we played all over Manhattan.
Where did you play? Because I was
the Cheetah, which was, I think, West 48 to West 46. We played the Peppermint Lounge before it closed. I was a kid. These guys were 30 years old. I'm 17. I'm 18. You know, whatever. But we played a lot of play. Did a lot of colleges.
And how was your father with you doing that?
Not happy.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
No, I'm not happy. Not happy at all. No. But
and so when did you start the masonry business?
I started the masonry business when I was 18 years old. I went to college for about 11 minutes. I didn't like it. And I said, I want to make money. And that's what I did.
Wow. And so you're a mason. So you're doing masonry.
I never
and you're
learned.
doing.
Right. I never learned mason. I mean, I'm not a bricklayer. I'm a
So
business.
you just were the business. You were the
Correct,
business.
Correct.
And has that aided you in your acting career that
Oh,
that you're a good business?
You know, you talk to every client differently. You talk to every bank manager differently. You
Right.
talk to every building inspector differently. You find out what their thing is, and then you zero in on it, and they get happy, and they give you what you want. That's acting.
You did something very smart at your audition too. I want to talk about. So, you know, because because you've got the smarts, you apply the smarts to your craft, and you need the both things. You can't have one without the other.
No, I guess you can't. No.
To be successful. So, okay, so Vincent, so you're a Mason. Your wife hears about an acting. Now, where did that come from at 39?
Good question. Good question. I'm completely addicted to old movies. I mean, they should do an intervention. That's how much I'm serious. So I think this was maybe it was around the beginning of the Turner Classic Movie Channel, maybe. And I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. I'm watching these black and white films. I'm watching these guys. They're cool. They're calm. They're collected. You know, they could deliver a line like nobody's business. Right. I said, my God, Maureen, if I had the guts, someday I would love to do this kind of work. No, you could do it. You got no. I can't. I have to go give an estimate. I got to go pick up a check from a customer. I don't have time for this. That was my whole shtick, you know.
Right.
And she called up. She saw the advertisement in Backstage magazine. She called up, and Michael Moriarty happened to answer the phone himself. Oh yeah, I'll see him. Tell him to come in Wednesday night. He can watch one of my clips. And I went in with this incredible trepidation, like, what the fuck am I doing here? I don't. These people are artists. They've been.
Now wait, had you done anything, Vincent?
No.
No school plays, no nothing.
No, never did. Nothing, zero. No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
And I went in and I stayed quiet every Wednesday. I stayed quiet for weeks. Finally, he said to me, "Well, are you gonna work on something?" I had no idea what to do. You tell me. I said, "Well, tell me about yourself." 5 minutes, and I did. He said, "Well, that's a monologue." I said, "Really? I didn't know what a monologue was." I swear to God. Little by little. Then Dick Wolf had pitched Law and Order. NBC said, "Yeah, we're going to do it." And Michael immediately went to work every day. And believe it or not, I took over the acting studio. I didn't teach, but I kept all the eyes dotted.
Because you were the business guy.
I was the business guy.
That's right.
Here I am. He had a couple of subordinate teachers, whatever you want to call them. And I kept it running for him for a couple of years. And I said, "I'm busy. I got to go." So we shut it down.
Okay.
Anyway.
Now, while you're in his class,
yeah,
and they kept it going, you're doing monologues?
Mm-hmm.
You're doing scene study?
Scenes, sure.
You're doing scenes. Does he recognize in you right away, which I'm assuming he does, that there's something there, that there's talent there?
He said to me about maybe not quite a year in, he said to me, "You know, you're going to do something with this life." He said, "I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but you're going to do something as an actor." I said, "Well, from your mouth to God's ears," because I really enjoy the work. And here we are.
Can you remember any of the characters that you played when you were studying?
Oh, yeah. Cassius from Julius Caesar.
Oh, wow. Shakespeare.
Richard III. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Richard III. Shylock.
Wow.
Who I love from The Merchant of Venice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff. A lot of Eric Bogosian material too.
Wow.
Real dark comedy, but I enjoyed it. I really did.
Do you like comedy?
I love comedy. But you know something? He asked me, well, he asked all of us in the class to write a 5-minute skit, something comedic. And he wasn't really a comedy guy.
No,
not at all.
He wasn't. Yeah.
So I wrote this thing about a funeral home. And
I'm just interrupting you for a second. I'm watching right now 6 Feet Under for the second time.
Are you?
Talk about a funeral home.
Right,
Did you ever see that show?
But you can watch mine on YouTube. It's called Dearly Beloved.
I have that. I have it. Is it on YouTube now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be looking at it.
So I turned it into a half-hour movie. I shot it with my own money. And it's funny because who's the guy that does all the housewife shows? Andy Cohen. Andy Cohen? I don't know. He saw Dearly Beloved at the Angelica Film Festival in Manhattan. We had submitted it. And he came up to my wife, Maureen. Nobody knew who this guy was. He said, I want to turn this into a series. I said, series? Wow. Because, in the funeral business, you can go on forever.
Yes,
the strangest fucking things happen. Excuse my French. But I was busy, and I didn't do it. But now, Vicki, I may extend it, reshoot it this year.
Okay, wait a minute. I have questions here. How did you learn how to write? I'm a writer. How did you learn how to produce a film? How did you do this out of nowhere?
Oh, God. As far as the writing, I just saw characters come into the funeral home and I wrote them. I mean, I could just picture them coming into the funeral home. And
Were they based on real people or you just?
Yeah, kind of. Well, I had Tony Sirico in it. I had Tony playing a loan shark. This is before The Sopranos.
How did you meet Tony?
I met Tony in a little place called Mary Lou's down on West 9th Street.
I know Mary. I knew Mary very well.
Here you go.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Lou's girl.
Oh, yeah. There were the days, Mary Lou's.
That's a compliment. So I met him there. The night I met him in 92, I met him.
Wow.
I met him, Imperioli. I met Kathy Scorsese that night. I met Sofia Coppola and Vinny Pastore. One night, one shot.
Wow.
So Sirico said to me, we hang here every Thursday night. He said, you sit with me, like we're in prison, you come, you sit with me. So that's what I did for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. But then I graduated to Elaine's. And she took me under her wing like nobody's business.
Wow.
Big time. She took me under her wing.
Wow.
And when I became prominent on the show, she said to me, you're going to come here Sunday night, you're going to have dinner. 9 o'clock, I'm putting your fucking show on. And I don't do that for nobody.
Wow.
Sure enough, she'd kill the jupe, whatever the hell it was, and sit there like this. This was every week.
Wow.
She was my guardian angel. She really
was. Oh.
Yeah, she was.
What a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was. It was a tremendous thing because she said to Maureen, and Elaine was not crazy about women.
I understand that to be true.
She had a problem with women. Mm-hmm. She liked Maureen right away, and she says, he's going to be busy. Watch, you're going to see what happens. And thank God it happened. Yeah.
Okay, so the writing thing, you just did it. Obviously you have a natural affinity for this.
I don't know. And I give my students scenes, like not comedic scenes. I give them an idea and then we go into something and I mean, it gets dark. And I'm wondering where did that come from? It came from me. I'm ruining these people because I'm making them,
dark is good.
They're going home in tears at the end of the day.
Dark is good. Okay, so then how did you funded it yourself? How did you know how to be a producer to put this together?
I had help. I had some people. Kathy Scorsese was a huge help to me because she was able to walk me into Screen Actors Guild of Manhattan at the time. You had to bring an insurance policy. You had to bring a contract that you're going to pay SAG people the rate, for the beep, for the boop. And she told me a lot of stuff about camera angles. She told me a lot of stuff about props. She told me about a little bit about editing, as much as she knew. Somehow, some way, I got through it, you know.
Did you bring did you know how to bring in the right people to do the right things, or
Yeah,
were
I
you
did.
doing
I
it
had
all
the right
yourself?
elements. I had a great camera. We shot in 16 millimeter film, which was expensive, you know. And then we converted it obviously to video and whatever, blah blah blah. But
so if it's a 30-minute film, how much did you shoot?
oh God, probably about an hour and a half. But the reason we kept it at 30, Vicki, was because the festivals always seemed to want 30 minutes. Actually, I cut it to 29, so they couldn't say no, you know. So,
and you won
we won a couple of, yeah, we did. But, you know, I mean, time being a constraint back then. So what I think I'm going to do this year, hopefully before the year is out, I'm going to just reshoot, make it longer, make it in today's genre, you know. We got every location in Brooklyn back then for $1. $1 each. Yeah.
It wouldn't be that way today.
No, but you know what? I got friends that own funeral homes, plural. So I'm good on that. I'm going to be good when it comes to that. But yeah. But I want you to watch Dearly Beloved. I think
I'm gonna watch it tonight. I got that on my I'm getting that on my queue tonight. Okay. I didn't know it was available. That's excellent.
Yeah, so, somebody put it on YouTube. I don't know who. I didn't do it, but it's up there.
So you shot this film. What happens next?
Nothing acting wise.
Okay. Well, that's showbiz.
No, from 94 up until my first episode of The Sopranos. Okay,
so I thought didn't you do like a Law and Order first? Didn't you do something first?
Oh, I did a Law and Order in 1991. Moriarty got me on it so I could qualify for a SAG club. It was like 3 lines. It was not a big deal. So then that got me frustrated. So in 94, 3 years later, I write and shoot Dearly Beloved. Then nothing happens from 94 till 98 when I shoot my first episode of Sopranos.
Okay, so tell us about that audition. How did you get the audition?
Chris Noth is a very good friend of mine for a long time, you know?
I met him at a party. Yeah.
All right. Well, Chris put me in an NBC movie, primetime movie called Exile.
Exiled, yeah.
And because we hung out in the lanes, he said, you know, can you want to do this? Yeah, I'll do it. Sure. Whatever. Me, Dabney Coleman, 5 other people. I
love Dabney Coleman.
You love him. Isn't he great? He's great.
And I know his son, Randy, who's
Do
wonderful.
you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He was in it. And at the time, I had some girl in New York, a woman in New York, who was like a half-assed manager, talent manager. And I met her at some function. I don't know what it was. She said, well, you know what? If anything comes up, would you mind? Can I submit you? Yeah, okay, whatever. What do I got to lose? She came up with Sopranos. She calls me up. I said, yeah, I know all about it. Tony Sirico's my friend. They started.
Had Tony already been cast in it?
Oh, yeah. Tony was cast from day one.
Oh, wow.
Day one. Yeah. She said, well, there's a part, but the guy's 70 years old. He's an old-time mobster. He's this, he wears a little cap, he's got 4 sweaters on, you know the routine. I said, so why the fuck are you sending me in today? I was, what was I, 40? Yeah, I was almost 45 at the time. Now she says, go in, sometimes they change their minds. Okay.
Wow, do you owe her?
But then I dumped her. That's a long story.
Oh, okay.
That's a bad word. So I was doing this thing with Chris on Staten Island location. She makes an appointment for me. I said, I can't. I'll never get there on time. Okay, what about tomorrow? I said, I'll call you tomorrow. I called her the next morning. I can't come. I'm going to wrap late tonight. Oh my God, she said, these people, you know, they're not very patient people. I said, see what you could do for tomorrow, which was a Thursday. I shot in Staten Island. I went all the way back to New Jersey around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, changed clothes. I don't know why. I get to this thing on West 72nd Street and I'm late. I get out of the cab. I'm a half hour later.
Oh my God.
And I said to myself, I hate being pushed and I don't like to rush. So I lit a cigarette. I started to walk around West 72nd Street. There's a window with puppies in it, a pet shop. Over there's a place where you buy cigarettes. Now I'm roaming around. I finished the cigarette, Vicki. I decide I'm going to light another. Now I'm a good 45 minutes more late.
I wonder if they're looking out the window and they're watching you smoke those cigarettes.
It's funny. I never thought of that, but that's a good point. But in any case, I finally went up and I got to the doorway of this huge room, and there's a woman at a desk in the middle of the room. They had rented space, Mm-hmm. She's got pictures and resumes on her desk that is high, and I'm going. She doesn't even look up. She hears me come in. She says, "You're late." Okay, no problem. Goodbye. And I turn around. I'm leaving.
Oh my gosh.
She looks up and she says to me, "Well, stop." She said, "Did they fax you the scenes?" I said, "Yeah, I got them." She said, "All right, sit down. Let's read them." So she read with me once. She said, "Well, today's Thursday. I want you to come into Queens on Monday afternoon." Queens, you might as well tell me I'm going to Pluto. I'm no Davy Crockett. I don't find Davy Crockett. So I went, and so it's my callback, So I look at the list, you sign in, and there's all these guys for Johnny Sack, for Johnny Sack, for Johnny Sack. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? A couple of names they even recognized. And so I'm sitting in the waiting room, Vicki, and I'm hearing the same dialogue over and over. They're all screaming. Oh, Uncle Junior. I said to myself, I got it. They came out. Are you ready, Mr. Curatola? Yes, I am. This is Mr. David Chase. This is Alan Taylor. This is, hello, how are you? And they said, "You ready?" "Yeah, I'm ready." So they had a reader. And I started to whisper. Because I am diametrically opposed to whatever the fucking norm is. Okay, so now I'm whispering. These guys were screaming. So they're leaning in like E.F. Hutton's going to say something, trying to hear me. And I did it, and they looked, Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. And the next morning she called me, the manager. She said, "They're offering you the part." And
wow.
Said, okay, great. But I found out, I didn't know this, that it was only supposed to be a one-off. And I was in episode 6 of the 13 that finally aired later in January. And they got a pickup right away, and they called me. And they said, "We'd like you to do more." And then the following is when they made me a series regular in 2001, I think it was. So it went on from there.
So,
huh?
Go ahead.
I have to tell you, and Maureen will back this up. I've had 4 conversations with David Chase since 1998. Have you heard about this guy? He's like a sphinx.
I heard you say that he only talks to you if you're going to die.
If you're going to go, people would. I interrupted you, and I don't like doing that.
No. It's okay. We're having a conversation. That happens in life.
Thank you. We used to have people in the hallway, at craft service, you're getting a coffee or whatever. And gee, I hope everything's okay. I said hello to Mr. Chase yesterday, and he barely looked at me. He didn't say a word to me. I said, "This is good. Don't look for anything. He's going to talk to you when you're going to die." "No, really?" I said, "Yes." Because he doesn't like spontaneous conversation. "David, how are you? Look at the weather this morning." This guy will kill you with his eyes. So,
he killed some of my friends. He killed Joey Pants. He killed Michael Imperioli. He was whacking my friend. So when he whacked you, did you know you were going? Did you know you were going to die?
Terry went to call me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Vince, these cigarettes finally going to catch up to Johnny. And he's going to die of cancer. and the episode's going to be called Stage 5 because there is none. There's only Stage 4.
Right.
So I said, okay, no problem. That's great. I didn't care. I'm a contract player. You're paying me no matter how many days I stay home. So
really? You get paid for the season no matter what?
Oh, you get paid every season no matter what. You could have used me for an hour. I still get the whole season.
Nice.
Right? So I was very cool with that. And I said, okay, well, I said, I'm on the foundation board of the medical center. Do you need anything? He said, yeah, actually we do. I said, okay, what do you need? Well, so I hung up the phone with him and I called the executive office and I got a major oncologist on the phone.
Wow.
And I said, listen, can the Soprano writers meet with you? He said, absolutely, sure, of course they can. So we set it up. And so that this way they were able to mention the drugs that Johnny would be on, what he would look like at certain points of his demise, blah, blah, blah. But so, they had those 2 episodes up on the screen at the Ziegfeld Theater in Manhattan. And when you have cancer and you're dying, and that
you don't look so good.
40 feet high, and there's my wife next to me, my son, my daughter-in-law, and I'm doing this with my hands. I'm closing their eyes. But yeah, so no, it was cool. I'm cool in the sense that that thing that he relied on so much, that friend, is what eventually said, come with me.
Well, it was another character in the show. Your cigarettes were a character in the show.
Yeah, Vicki, remarkably so. It really was.
So did people know when they were going to, like Vincent Pastore, that was shocking when they killed Vincent Pastore. I had a wonderful time when Ginny did the show.
Did he tell you about, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you tell me. What?
Did he tell you about Saudi Arabia?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
To November of 19, some producer sent him and me and Federico Florio to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to sign autographs. Oh, yeah. Do you think that we would have believed that we had major fans 6,500 miles away from home?
Wow.
We were the Beatles when we got there. But I don't want to digress. I want you to tell me about that.
No. I have nothing planned. We're in the moment. So wherever we go is good.
I know, but you were saying that he
did people know? Did he know when he was going to go? I didn't ask Vinny this. Did he know when he was going to go?
You know what? I'm not talking out of school because he told them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. David, when David got the order from HBO after the first season aired, I think it was like a week later, 2 weeks later, they called him and they said, listen, we want another season. David said, I don't have one. David didn't write a second season.
Wow.
But apparently he wanted Vinny in the second season. And for whatever reason, he said, listen, you're in second season, but you're dying.
Oh.
So Vinny knew it day one.
I see.
Day one. The reason, I don't know. I really can't make believe that I know. But he was in the first 2 seasons, obviously. And let me tell you something, this guy is as famous as a bear aspirin, just from those 2 seasons. Obviously, with the other work he's done.
Yes.
But this, like, boom.
Yep.
Big put. We were somewhere, and a kid walked up to he and I, and their parents were there, and the kid said, oh my God, you're Johnny Sack, And I said, hello, my name is Vince, how are you, blah, blah, blah. And the kid looks at Vinny, he says, I know you, you're on the Sopranos too, but I forgot your character's name. Vinny looks at me, looks at the kid, he said, Sal.
Yeah, he couldn't say pussy.
Oh.
That's hysterical. Oh my God. And so did that happen to each character? Like, did Joey Pants know, okay, this is it, they're killing me this year? Like, did everybody know they're going?
I believe Pants, I think that he he came in mid-season. I forgot which one. And David said, I'm going to give you the rest of this season and the first half of next season, and then you're going. And I believe Joey did know ahead of time, yeah. So technically, Joey did 2 seasons, but if you look at the volume of his episodes, it probably compressed to 1 season.
And there's so much conversation when anyone got whacked on The Sopranos, like, are they really dead? Are they coming back? Right? Because Pussy came back.
He came back.
He came, and Adriana. No, a lot of people don't believe that Adriana's dead to this day.
I'm one of those people.
Really?
Yeah, I'm one.
You don't think you don't think that?
You know what? When Silvio took her out of the car, and she starts to crawl into the grass, whatever it was, and he's got that pistol, and he fires those 2 or 3 shots, whatever it was. I don't know that he killed her. I don't.
Wow. Okay, so we have to talk about the ending. And I know that even Pastore has changed his own mind 3 times on 3 different interviews I watched.
Did he?
About the ending. Have you changed your mind over the years, or have you stayed solid? And what's your opinion?
I'm good, but I had my own ending in mind, but that's another story.
Well, now tell us what your ending would have been. I want to know.
My ending would have been, and I told this to Jimmy, my ending would have been, I'd have the camera overhead, looking down at him and Carmela asleep in the morning. A little bit of sun's coming through the window, okay? We pull the camera back, and they're in this little crummy house, cheap little furniture, a narrow little bed, and they wake up. Hi, honey, how are you? Good morning. I'm good. Okay. They get ready. Blah, blah, blah. He puts on his shirt and his little vest with his name tag. He works at Walmart. And he says to Carmela, hurry up. She's saying, get the coffee, do this. I got to run. I got to show a house. I got to show an apartment. She's a real estate agent. And he says to her at the breakfast table, you wouldn't believe the dream I had last night.
Oh my God.
That would have been my ending.
Oh my God. All right. So tell me what you think about David's ending, that I've heard that he purposefully did that so we'd all be kind of.
He recently said in an interview, I don't know with whom, but he was going to have, I was going to live longer. Johnny was going to live longer. And I was going to call Tony Soprano and say, listen, come and meet me in Manhattan for dinner tonight. I want to talk. I want to talk to you. And the idea would have been, it would have been a night shot. You would see Jimmy, Tony Soprano, driving into the Lincoln Tunnel or the Holland Tunnel from New Jersey to come into New York, right? And then boom, whack. Done. It's over. Yeah. And I'm glad, Vicki, it didn't happen, because my life wouldn't be worth a quarter today. That's a true story. These people take this shit very seriously.
They do take it seriously.
Okay? I would have had to move to I don't know where.
You probably would have gotten whacked. It's a terrible thing.
It's very possible, actually.
Oh my God.
But that was, David did come up with that idea.
Well, okay, so how did you interpret what he did do?
Okay. It was Jimmy and Lorraine and me and Imperioli and Vincent. We were doing a personal appearance at Foxwoods in Connecticut. And a big one. That's Saturday night. We were then booked at the Hard Rock in Miami for Sunday. So they got a plane, gorgeous private plane, was so beautiful. They flew us down 11 o'clock in the morning to Florida. And then that night, Vicki, about 6 o'clock, we did another meet and greet at about 1,500 people in the ballroom. About 10 minutes to 9, they grabbed us, they took us, and they put us in a room with a bartender and a waitress and a huge screen so we could watch the finale.
Oh, you watched it together?
We watched it together.
I love that.
7 of us. And those people out there had big screens also. They had paid God knows what to be there, you know. So we're watching it, and of course we come to that point where boom, black. And I remember distinctly, I looked over at Jim, and he was like this. you saw the claws start to shoot out from his fingers. What the fuck is this? Jimmy, you didn't know? No, I didn't know.
He didn't know?
Nobody knew.
What?
Nobody knew. My cell phone.
You didn't know till you guys were watching it in real time with everybody else.
The whole world.
Wow.
Yep. My phone started to ring. All our phones rang. It's Maureen. Like, the cable went out. Son of a bitch, what happened? No, the cable didn't go out. Oh, how many of those calls I got within the first 4 minutes?
The cable went out.
But it was over. They ran the credits. And I think that was the only ending of any of our episodes, Vicki, where there were no music to the credits.
And the music was always great to end the show. Always memorable.
In a tomb.
Wait, but didn't they use Don't Stop Believing? They used a Journey song.
I think that was inside the
restaurant.
The ice cream. Yeah, whatever that was. But no, this, if I remember correctly, those credits.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And that was a very profound silence after all of that, all those years. And then just boom.
Okay, so now you're sitting there with 7 other castmates.
Yeah.
What are you all saying? What does everybody think just happened?
The thing is, what the fuck happened? Excuse me, but that's exactly. What did David do? Now, we got to go back out into the ballroom. Because
you guys don't know more than these people know.
No, they were not happy. I felt bad for them. I really did. I felt badly for them. I mean, here they are. I mean, they were fans, I'm supposing, since day one.
Of course.
And they're going to go home. They're going to, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They weren't happy. And I felt, we all felt bad. But then we realized that David never would have done a Dallas thing like Who Shot JR. Too obvious, you know.
Right.
So my take on the whole thing is and then 2 weeks after the episode aired, I got a call from my manager in LA that Hillary and Bill Clinton want to do a spoof on the ending of The Sopranos. And I said, what are you talking about? What, do what, man? He said that they're going to be in the diner. Would you be at the counter? And they come in, they're not going to order onion rings. She's going to order carrot sticks. They're more healthy for Bill. And Chelsea's outside parking the car. I said,
I remember that.
You remember? It's also
I remember that.
It was Father's Day morning. So Secret Service walks in. They sent the gorgeous limousine. Maureen and I go. I said, listen, I got to be back 3 o'clock. It's Father's Day. You know, we got to shoot this, and I'm going home. So Secret Service walked in. I'm sitting down. I'm eating eggs in the diner. They come in. They make sure the place is all right. It's this. Hillary walks in. Thank you so much for doing. Bill walks in. And he says to me, oh, you know, I just love your show so much. He said, I feel so badly. He said, are you guys going to come back? I said, Bill, are you going to come back? I said, with a straight face. Because those people never leave, the Clintons. They never. So I said, by the way, can I ask you something? He said, oh, yeah, sure. I said, do you still smoke cigars? And he looked at me. He said, only on the golf course when she doesn't watch me. I said, oh, that's cool. I busted his term. But we had a good shoot. We really did. It's on
okay,
YouTube.
so now tell me, when you're all sitting there, sorry to interrupt you. When you're all sitting there, do you have different opinions about what the ending means? Do you talk about it? Are you too stunned?
We're stunned. We're stunned. Nobody offered an opinion. And not only that, not only did no one offer an opinion, but suppose someone would have overheard our opinion.
And then they take it as gospel.
You know, and then you wind up in the paper, oh, so-and-so said it's.
Nah.
We always.
But over the course of time, Vince, did you come to have an opinion? Have you come to have an opinion?
Yes, I have, Vicki, a very strong one. And I feel that I don't feel that the story ended. I feel that your ability to look at them through a window the window's now been closed. That's all. It's just been closed. They're still here. They're doing this. They're doing that. You're just not allowed to watch it anymore.
I like that.
Yeah, that's just.
I like that
Because you know something. To to walk into a diner, ice cream place, and blow away this guy, that's a little rickety. It's too obvious. It's too easy to do. David's not an obvious guy. You know, that's just me.
I love it. So this is when did your life change, Vince? Because you had only the one show, right, in the first season.
Right.
Now, right from doing that show, did it start to change? Tell me when it happened. What happened?
It started, Vicki, the first couple of episodes of the second season. Mm-hmm. Even though the one episode and the people would just start doing this, like, nah, that can't be somebody else, not him. But the second season premiere, the first couple of that's when it started.
I mean, because everybody, I mean, we couldn't binge, we were home. We had DVR, but we were home. There's no way I'm not watching it in real time. I'm not taping it, I'm watching it.
Yes, yeah.
And
we used to empty out restaurants. Yeah. Restaurant people used to complain. Oh my God, you guys, Sunday night, I don't do any business. Everybody goes, oh.
So when do you give up the masonry business?
01. I said to my son, Ryan, very hardworking kid, very, very, very wonderful businessman. Mm-hmm. I said, you want this business? Because we had property attached to it and trucks. And he says, yes, I'll do it. So he did it. He closed it a couple of years ago, went into real estate development. Because I could no longer walk onto a job site. It would be stupid.
It would be crazy.
And I didn't want, not only that, but he had a good point too, my son Ryan, when he said, they see you, they're not going to pay me.
Wait, what?
They're going to think your father's this.
Oh, he's rich. You don't need the money.
Well, whether you need the money, don't worry about it. Really, that worried him. So I get
it. Yeah, I get it. So probably I think the most endearing thing, as I was telling you, Vince, I just re-binged the whole show. And
thank you.
What's so fabulous about it is that it holds up 1,000,000%. The first episode was tough. The pilot was tough for me.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was tough and I was watching it with my beau, and he hadn't seen it the first time around. I don't know how. He was busy working, but
a lot of people.
The first episode, he doesn't believe me. He's like, yeah, okay, I don't really. We had to watch that first episode 3 times until we could get past to the second. It was rough because a lot was going on, introducing a lot of characters. Mm-hmm. My daughter and her boyfriend were watching it. They're the ones that said, you got to watch The Sopranos. We can't stop. Yeah. And they watched the first episode, were confused. And then they read a synopsis of what it was about, went back and watched it again. And that's how they got into it. So we did the same thing because it is confusing, the first episode.
It's very confusing. And don't forget that pilot episode was written and shot, I think, in 97. So it was at least 1.5 years went by before David got a green light from HBO.
Oh, wow. Proceed. So it was a very different show.
It was.
Yeah, episode 2. It's a different show. So anyway, it holds up. It's there just isn't another show like it. I don't think there ever has been, and I don't think there ever will be.
No, I'll tell you something. People, and I get emails all day, every day, all over the world, literally. Where some people will say it's like you go into the Museum of Art, Metropolitan Museum of Art, Manhattan, and you're stunned by this thing that got painted 400 years ago, but you cannot stop looking at it. And I kind of think that's what this show is and will always be. It's just something you cannot stop watching.
So how was it for you guys on set? Like, because by the way, your relationship with James Gandolfini was such a masterful thing to behold, the two of you together, the work that you guys did on screen together, because you had such a complex relationship. Being enemies on the one hand, and yet being such respectful Friends? What? You were friends.
We were friends because, and I appreciate what you just said. I love you for that.
It's true.
Jimmy and I had a great love for each other.
It showed.
We really did. But I'll tell you something. Our characters rather
Mhm.
were responsible for so many people and so
Mhm.
much money that it could have imploded in a heartbeat if tempers were allowed to come to the fore. But
Mhm.
we were too practical for that. And
Mhm.
we knew that the whole goal of this thing is to make all the money in the world. We can't do it if we're dead. And you're
Okay,
gonna help
but
me.
Johnny Sack loses his when Ginny gets insulted.
Correct.
So this is what I was going to say before. My love and respect for the character, aside from the sexy cigarette smoking, which was a whole nother thing, but Johnny Sack's love for his wife, and it's more than love. It's a devotion and a loyalty
Right.
that is, and very complicated too, because you're ready to kill Joey Pants for, what happened. But at the same time, you don't like that scene where she's in the basement binging. Oh my
No, because
God.
here I've defended you, and now you're making the situation worse. What do you want to do? Get fatter? So the next joke's going to be even worse, and then I'm going to wind up killing more people. If I'm stepping out for you, you're my wife. You've got to go with the program and try to lose this weight that you gained since your knees went bad many years ago. You used to be a fabulous dancer, a professional dancer. Your knees went, you gained a lot of weight. Here I am asking for a killing. And here you are not doing your part. What are you trying to do? Get bigger? So that enraged Johnny. It really did. And
Very complicated though, very, very real and very layered that he would, have that loyalty to her and do what he'd go to the extent that he did, but at the same time, hold her accountable.
I'll tell you from what I understand from real Vicki old timers, couple in that life, he would not have had to ask permission from anyone back then.
Oh, really?
He could have just done it. He would have been in the clear. But as the years went by, it became more complex. And I had to go to my boss, Carmine, to ask for this hit. But two people really, really, really in the know said to me that never would have happened. You could have just gone ahead and nobody would have blinked because you were right.
So how much of that's a great segue to my next question. How did you guys have wise guys on the set? How much did you research what you would do? Did you have friends you could go talk to? How did you get Johnny Sack?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked me that question. There's no one, not even David himself, ever came to me and said, I think Johnny is this, or I think Johnny is that. Not once, Vicki.
Wow.
All those years. But the writing was so specific that the minute you would get your new script and you would read what you're doing, you say, yeah, I got this. I got it. I know what he's thinking. I know what this guy is thinking. As far as my character, many times in the press, whatever, has been compared to John Gotti.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Johnny was anything near him because, Gotti was tough, man. He was a rough gangster. Johnny was more of a racketeer, Johnny Sack, not a gangster. There's a difference between the two,
Mm-hmm.
And
because Johnny was more about making money and
Johnny could have been part of Enron. So could Tony Soprano.
Mm-hmm.
We're just guys that move a lot of money around. And who's to say that in the corporate world, people don't get killed? Maybe they do. So basically,
although Tony was known to get out of his car and whack somebody with a baseball bat and do that.
No question about it. No question about it. But as far as research, Vicki,
did you know Wise Guys?
I've seen them. Yeah, I've said hello. They've said hello to me. Usually what I used to get from them when I did bump into them, when I was in Manhattan more before COVID, is they would look at me and do this. Meaning, yeah, you did it. You rang the bell. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But no, I actually never went to, I never absorbed any of that. And it's funny because some people will come up to me on the street, and they'll talk to me in this like, well, you're from the Bronx, right?
I am.
Okay, so how you doing? Everything all right with you? You doing your man?
Mhm.
I go, hi, how are you? My name is Vince. They look at me, they're pissed off. Because I'm not talking like what they
You're not a
think. we're gonna-
Goomba.
There you
Yeah.
There you go. So that happens a lot. But no, I didn't do any research, Vicki. I really didn't know. Only because I always felt that Johnny, like you said, was a businessman. And I felt that Johnny would have used anything possible. And I believe a lot of corporate guys will use anything possible to get what the hell they want. And if that includes, you're going to put somebody in a barrel, that's what's going to happen. Mafia.
Did you have anybody in mind? Did you model Johnny after anyone in your life that you
My
knew?
mother.
Or
My mother.
your mom? Okay, now this is interesting.
Yeah, my mother was that strong.
Wow.
Very fat. She was a fashion plate, a very quiet, demure woman, very dangerous.
How so?
In the way that she protected, they could have made Michael Corleone after my mother.
Wow.
Which I'll give you a tidbit. Mario Puzo, who wrote The Godfather, they asked him, they said, where did this Godfather character come from? He said, The Godfather was my mother. That's a true story. That is a true story.
Wow.
And my mother was the type, you would not at all disrespect her or anyone she loved. Didn't have to be a family member either. If my mother loved you, she owned you.
Wow.
And she would step out for you in all kinds of situations. And Johnny, and my mother was a Virgo. They dot every I, cross every T. Johnny was like that. I'm like that. And Johnny wanted everything.
You're a Leo, though.
I'm a Leo. That's true. But I have that thing. But I'll tell you right now, if you look at these two, you got a pencil and two pens. You see them?
Mm-hmm.
God forbid these are not on my table tomorrow when I come in this room. I turn the house upside down.
Me too. I'm a Scorpio, but I do that too.
There you go. That's me. So you say, where did Johnny come from? Johnny came from an innate sense of things have to be done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you ever lie to me, ever. That was my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to $1, my mother would give you, if you needed $1, she'd give you 10. But don't rob her. That was Johnny, I think.
That sounds right. Okay, so now there are sides, there are families in The Sopranos. When you guys are on set or when you're hanging out, does the on-screen relationship lead into real life? How does that work?
No, not at all. No. Matter of fact, my students are always unbelieving of this fact. We never talked about the scenes while we were on set. We never talked about the work when we were in an airplane flying to a personal appearance. We never said a word. We would talk about cars. We would talk about, you're going to do that benefit Saturday night? Yeah, I guess. We never talked about the work. Never called each other by our character's name, even accidentally, because we were there to work.
Right.
Period. End of story.
And were you all good friends?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, we were close. It morphed into a couple other things as the years went by. But I'll tell you something. Robert Isla called me yesterday. And we've been close since he's a kid because his mother used to work full time. And she used to say to Maureen and I, listen, I know you guys are going to that thing Saturday night. You know, Robert's a kid. Would you? And we used to watch this kid. We actually like fucking babysitted him. Oh, yeah. Aww. Now he lives in LA. He's a professional poker player. He does it very well. Yeah. And he called me yesterday. What's new? How are you? And, you know, it's funny because anytime I see him, I bite his head. We were at the Emmys. They always put us in the Peninsula Hotel. And I got the tuxedo on. Maureen's about ready. And the doorbell rings in the suite. I said, okay, Maureen, I got it. I'm going. I open the door. Nobody there. But I see swinging on the outside of the door a big shopping bag. My God, I look inside. It's a big thing of depends. I look down the hall. It's Robert Eiler running down the hall to this son of a bitch. I'm going to get him later. We've been like that for years with this kid. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. Him, Jamie Lynn, Tony Sirico, and this past Saturday night, I introduced Dominic Chianese at the cutting room to do his singing gig. 91 years old. He came in on the QE2 with his wife, Jane, 2 weeks ago, so he could do this gig.
Wow.
All right?
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about you and singing and how. So you said you were in a rock band when you were
I was in a rock band, and then, of course, I put it away probably before I was 20, and then just concentrated on my business, and then, eventually focused on acting. But in the second season, we did an episode where we had a card game that lasted for 3 days and 3 nights.
I remember it well.
Right? Frank Sinatra Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the dealer? Paul Mazursky.
Mm-hmm.
Great actor, great writer, great director. Right? 3 days. It's like we're in a tube. Right? Frank Jr. and I and Sirico, we became very close friends. This was 99 when we shot that one. Yeah, 99. Yeah. Became very close friends. And I stayed in contact with Junior for years. So I think it was 5 years ago, maybe. He said, come and see me in Atlantic City. He was performing with his orchestra. Yeah. He says, bring Tony. So I get a hold of Sirico, the two of us, and Maureen, who I would take a limo. We go down. Does the show. Nice, beautiful. We're happy. He says, come on, we're going to go get a snack. Let's have a midnight supper, Junior. Some steakhouse. You're sitting there, you're waiting for the food, you're waiting for the drinks. Frank starts humming songs. I start humming songs. He says to me, go an octave higher than me on this next refrain. I said, okay, let's try whatever that was. He said to me at the end of that night, he said, you should sing. I said, no, I'm not a singer. He said, you're an actor. Actors tell stories, singers tell stories, don't they? He said, and you have the range. I said, nah, Frank, it did not happen. Sirico's there going, shut the fuck up, Frank. He ain't going to become a fucking singer, right? You know how Sirico is, right? So I got the bug in my head. Weeks later, I called up a friend of mine, Gene Cornish. Gene is one of the four.
I booked Gene Cornish in 1986 on Bleecker Street.
See?
Yeah.
Where? Into what? What in what? What was
in the Rock and Roll Cafe, which was originally the other end. There was the bitter end and then the other end. But I ran it when it was the Rock and Roll Cafe. So Gene Cornish used to play.
See?
Yeah.
I called him. I knew him. I called him. I said, you got a good jazz guitarist because you're a rock guitarist. Yeah, guy, man. I said, let him call me. I called him, spoke to him. I said, you got a good pianist? Oh, yeah, sure. Jazz piano. Yeah, I got one. So we put this thing together. And I started doing gigs. So what happened?
You're doing them down where are you doing gigs?
I got 4 coming up in Nyack, New York. I got 2 coming up in Fort Lee, another one in Hackensack. And I don't know when the fuck I'm going to get to my next.
And you're doing like supper clubs, I assume.
Oh, yeah. I do 14 songs. Come fly with me, let's fly. You know that stuff? Now, my piano, yeah, really, I love it, man. My pianist owns a place called Maureen's Jazz Cellar in Nyack. And he's also the pianist at the Carlisle. So nice. He brings the guitarist, the bass player, him, and he brings the drummer. These guys make me sound like I know what the fuck I'm doing. Okay. So it's wonderful. And now we're going to do a benefit June 26th, a Sunday afternoon, for a girl who's a new student of mine. Her name is Olivia Hutcherson. She's 32. When she was 26, they diagnosed her with breast cancer.
Oh.
She was okay for 3 years. It came back.
Oh.
Came back, and she's a choreographer. She's a professional dancer. And she's a former San Francisco 49ers cheerleader.
Oh my.
Now she's 32. She's battling again. She looks fantastic though. And so I'm going to put this, we're doing a benefit. If you want, I'll send you the thing.
Yeah, send me the link and I'll put it in the,
Yeah.
I did put the class. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about your teaching
yeah.
in a minute.
But so yeah, that's my next gig up, and then I got 4 of them in September, and we continue. But I because it is, you know what it is. I don't look at it that I'm a singer, Vicki. I look at it as I'm an actor playing a singer, and that's how I get through it.
Wow. You know,
Yeah.
my father sang, I was telling you, my dad was in Catskill Mountains, Master of Summers,
Yes,
and he
yes.
sang I grew up with all that music. I love that.
Sure.
And I got to see Frank Jr. do a show with Frank, with his dad, right
Yeah.
at the kind of the end of Frank's career. And he
Yeah.
was kind of forgetting lyrics, and Frank
Yeah,
Jr. was
yeah,
helping
yeah.
him.
Sure, of
But
course.
still, it was still, and the
Magic.
love between the two of them was
Yeah,
a
of
beautiful
course.
thing to see.
And he only calls his father Sinatra, never says dad.
Really?
He only said, you know, when Sinatra recorded that reprise,
Huh.
yeah, and you look at him going, shit, that's your father, right? You call him Sinatra. But, you know, he died just before a sound check, Junior. He was in
Really?
Florida. Yeah, he had a 10 gig thing lined up. And I think it was the first gig. And it was about 4:30 in the afternoon. So I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. They called paramedics to this backstage, and he died just like that. This is
Wow.
hard. 72.
That's horrible. By the way, Craig DeLacio says, my daughter and I drove up to Maureen's in Nyack to see Vince 4 years ago.
Right.
He is outstanding.
Oh God, thank you.
But I also want to tell you, I want to tell you something that this someone named Eric Levick wrote early in the show, and I glanced over at it, and I want to come back to it because this is very important. Let me find it. He said, The Sopranos has helped me with autism and anxiety, depression, and stress. I knew on the whole series I wasn't alone with how the characters were dealing with what they were dealing with. I was amazed what I'd seen on the show. I mean, I'm sure you get this kind of stuff all the time.
It's a heartwarming. First of all, Craig, I love you and Daisy. But to hear something like that, you know, I don't want to become morbid. But there have been several times where I was asked to, you know, could I go see a young kid because he's not going to be here next week, and he loves Johnny. I did that a few times. I hate the fact that I did it. No, what I mean is,
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that. I'll do it again, you know, because the impact of this show is really, you can't define it. It made people happy somehow, some way. And, you know, I have kids who run up to me now. They're like 15, 17, 18. It's a whole new world.
Oh my
God,
daughter's
Johnny.
24. You're like, you guys are the rock stars. I told my daughter you were doing the show today. Her and her boyfriend are losing their minds. They're so excited. They love you.
What's their names?
Samantha and Tristan.
Tristan and Samantha, God bless you. You got a wonderful, pretty and smart lady here. God bless you.
Thank you. All right. So before we go, let's talk about your class. Let's talk about your acting.
Okay.
So how did you come to start coaching acting? How did that happen?
Okay. It happened. Actually, it happened up in Nyack. Here we go again. Where I was doing some work. I was doing some singing. And I said to David Budway, the owner, and his wife, Brienne, I said, there are so many people who misunderstand what acting is. They misunderstand it, or they don't feel they're equipped to even attempt it. I said, that's a sin. I said, I'd like people to have what's the word I want to use? The ability, the availability to talk to someone if they're interested in this kind of work. And I'm going to make myself available. They said, take the place, do whatever you want. We started with Saturday afternoons. A couple of years, as I said, COVID came. Then after that, moved it to here because it's just quicker here. People get here quicker, blah, blah, blah. But I got to tell you something. And I don't want to sound I don't know how this is going to sound, but it's true. And it's from my heart. And I used to come home from being on set on Sopranos. And I used to say, Maureen would always say, well, I had to go ahead and shoot. Great. And you know, you have extras, you have background talent, you have background people. And I became very early on conscious, Vicki, of the look in their eyes when here you are a principal working. And I said to myself, maybe they need a little help. Can't help everybody. Maybe I could help 100 of them. Maybe get a little confidence going. So they'll go out and audition. Right now they're scared stiff. And that was my impetus for this thing.
So you said that you have international students. How did this happen? How did you?
Oh, okay. Facebook. I don't have Facebook. Maureen has Facebook. And
I put the Facebook page up on the thing.
Oh,
and I'll
wonderful.
do it again. Yeah.
And she blurbed it. And my God, the thing blew up.
Wow.
It just blew up. And you know, so we do every Thursday evening on Zoom. We have an every other week Tuesday course because it got too big. And we have the Saturday one, which is my real sweet spot. As you said, you like creative people to come to your home. I love it too. And I
so
get
tell what you do on Saturdays. I think that was before we went on the air, what you do.
What I do is I pick the ones who are somewhat local for obvious, you know, because a lot of them are across the pond, I guess.
Yeah, so tell us where your students are.
They're home. They're in my house.
Well, no, but tell us where your international.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Students.
New Zealand, okay. Australia, London. I want to say 4 in Texas, 3 LA. Wait. Helsinki, Finland. I got 2. Yeah, you believe this? And they speak English as a second or third
Can
language.
they do scenes on Zoom when they're in different places?
Yeah. Like really? You and I, we're talking. Same thing.
That's true.
We'll talk in character. They'll talk in. Oh, yeah. We have a lot of them. They're wonderful. They are wonderful. It's just Chicago, a lot of places. But we've got 2 in France, south of France.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so the Saturday class, you pick those from, how do you do that?
I picked it. Well, obviously they need to be local, of course,
right.
But within 50, I think 100 miles even. And I say, listen, I only have X amount who I work with personally, face to face. Do you want to be one of them? And if they're dedicated, they come in and they got to keep coming in.
And then they do a one-on-one with you?
One-on-one with me sometimes, most of the time. And I've told everybody this. I'm not an acting teacher. If anything, I'm a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have something going on for me to, help you. But if you're like, I can't help you. There's nothing I can. I'm not a teacher. But when you see them begin to get it, less is more. I don't let them go over the top because I'll shoot. I
love that.
Yeah, less is a lot more. And that's what I want. I want just normal conversation.
And plus you're going to have them go where you don't expect them. I assume you're helping them be the way you are, which is to make a choice that no one else is going to make. You're going to make the opposite choice.
Yes, exactly right. And this is why so many of them, I'll see them in the beginning and they'll do a scene and their character will begin crying. And I stop. Ooh. I said, you know what's more effective than crying? No, what? Being on the verge of crying is more effective than crying.
Trying not to cry.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Or they're drunk in a scene. They're drunk and I said, you know what people do when they're drunk? They try to act sober.
That's so true.
So let's try that the next take. Let's try that. I bring everything down to the other exercise I make them do is I make them lose something.
Lose something?
Yeah, their keys, their phone, whatever. Lose it. Now you can use the entire house. I want to see you look for this thing, but in earnest. You know why? Because you got to go pick up so-and-so at the airport. You can't even start the fucking car. I want to see that going on in your head. You lost your keys, you lost your phone. You don't know what the hell you're going to do. You got 5 minutes. That's a
Wow.
great exercise.
That sounds fantastic.
And there's only one more.
Yeah.
More. I tell them, you're going to sit in that chair or couch, and there's nobody in the room. It's only you. What do you look like when there's nobody looking at you? What is your stomach? Are you hanging out? What do you look like when you know and nobody's looking at you? You got 5 minutes. I want to see it.
Wow.
Learn how to do nothing. I want to see it.
Well, you as Johnny Sack took those moments. You had a lot of quiet moments.
I
You had
did.
a lot of moments where there was nothing
Yeah.
said, where you just allow, that takes a lot of confidence and a lot of
Thank you.
balls, as it were, to not speak and to just let your intention fill the room and
Right.
take the space.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
I'll tell you something. I've learned that from over the years, not knowingly that I was learning. I learned it from some family members who you would say something to them and they would just do this. That's all on you, right? You're trying to figure out what they're thinking.
That's nerve-wracking.
It is it's highly nerve-wracking, but it works.
Have you ever seen Barry, the show Barry?
No. What is
Okay,
it?
I'm going to suggest, because Henry Winkler plays an acting coach.
Oh, really?
And he's a failed actor, but he's like this acting coach, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Okay.
And the other one is the Kaminsky method. Did you ever see?
I love the Kaminsky method.
Okay, well, Barry is a different kind, about a hitman.
Yeah.
About a hitman who takes an acting class. So with Henry Winkler, I think you'll get a kick out of it.
That's fun. And I know Michael Douglas. He's a wonderful guy.
He's
a wonder. His father walked up to me in the lanes after the stroke. Hey, he said, "You're Johnny, right? From Sopranos, right?" I thought, "Oh, shit. This is Kirk Doug. You watch me?"
Wow.
"Oh, I love this show." I just, wow. Oh, my God. And he shook my hand, right? And I'm driving home that night with only my left hand on the steering wheel because I want to keep this one away.
Oh, my God.
I come into the house, I go, "Maureen, I'm washing one hand and I'm going to bed."
Wow.
Yeah, but the Kaminsky thing, it's just,
well, I think you'll like Barry too. Henry Winkler.
I'll watch Barry.
He's really funny as the acting coach. And so have you I'm sure you've gotten to meet a ton of your heroes as a result. So tell me, before we go, I won't let you go. I'll let you go after this.
I'm here. I'm going to tell you somebody I introduced Maureen to.
Oh, okay.
That was one of my big moments in LA at the Kodak Theater. I think it was. So we were there. We had been nominated as a cast
for the Emmys, right? That's
no, that one. Yeah, we did that. We also did SAG Awards there.
Right.
Early years of the Sopranos. Anyway, so we're up in the front, and there's the big stage, and we, HBO execs were over here, Soprano cast was over here, and over there's Clint Eastwood standing on the wall, refusing to sit down. There's Nicholson. He stood through the whole thing, this smile and everything, like standing up like this. So wild. That I got to tell you something. That's a movie star. That is really what you call a movie star. Eastwood, him, Anyway, so I go all the way in the back.
Clint was 92 today, by the way.
I know, right?
Yeah.
God bless him. But yes, I go out in the back all the way through this thing so I can smoke a cigarette. I'm dying. I'm having like pain. I got to smoke. All the way back, I'm outside smoking. Like the whole world is outside smoking. So I'm done. I'm coming back through the back door. I'm walking in. And then to my left, I see this woman sitting down. I'm thinking to myself, could it really be her? And I look at her and I walked over and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was Maureen O'Hara.
Oh.
I said, "I'm sorry, Miss O'Hara. My name is Vince Curatola." "Oh, I know who you are."
Oh.
Oh, I said, "My wife Maureen was named after you," which is a true story.
Wow.
She said to me, "Where is she?" I said, she's up near the stage. She said, take me to her. I put my arm out. She took my arm. We're walking slowly. She was having a lot of problems with her legs. We get up to the front. Maureen's got her head turned to the left. She's talking to Tony Sirico at the table. And I said, Maureen. She gets up. Oh my God. She said, Miss O'Hara, I can't. The look on my wife's face, you thought I bought her the whole fucking diamond.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
and the woman was so happy to meet a beautiful Irish girl that literally was named after her.
Wow.
We did I walked her back. I brought her back to her seat. That was one of my big ones. One of my big moments in this business.
That's pretty exciting. That's damn exciting. Okay, tell me one more.
What? Another person?
Yeah, give me another person.
Maureen and I were at one of the premieres of Sex in the City in Manhattan at the Museum of Natural History. I guess it was. They had it there. I don't know why. So I'm standing with Maureen. I'm talking to somebody, and I'm getting a drink or something, pop-up bar. And then somebody's behind me saying, that fucking Ginny, did she lose any fucking weight there? And I turned around, it's Richard Gere. And he said to me, I love your character. I said, you happen to know my fucking lines? Yeah. You know who else? Jim Carrey.
Oh my.
Jim Carrey knows Johnny Sack's lines inside and out. I did a movie. I'm in Hancock Park with him doing a film years ago, which I got cut from because the timeline was beyond my character, whatever it was. But I got very well paid. Son of a bitch knew every in Johnny Sack.
Oh my God. Isn't that
I was
fabulous?
shocked. And Brad Pitt, another one.
Get out of here.
Brad Pitt will recite. I take a sad song and make it better. He will recite everything. I did a movie with him in New Orleans, Killing Them Softly.
Yeah.
Those are the times you go like, no, this is not happening.
Oh my God.
An out of body experience. Yeah.
It's I just watched a Brad Pitt movie for the first time called Snatch. Did you ever see Snatch?
Yeah.
His character, you can't understand a word he says. Exactly. He is so funny in that movie.
Exactly. Yes. He's very talented. And he's one of the most humble guys.
Isn't that lovely?
So respectful. He's just so down to earth. He thanks you for everything. He's wonderful. He's really
that is so lovely to hear. Well, Vince, I can't tonight. I'm watching Dearly Beloved. I'm on it.
Yeah,
I got that going on.
It may say Dearly Beloved, then put a movie. It might say whatever. You'll get it. You don't get it.
I'll find it because I'll type your name in. I'll put your name in.
That's all. Yeah.
I'm so excited. It was so lovely to meet you. You exceeded all my expectations.
Listen, I got to tell you something. And I'm no prima donna. There's a lot of stuff I won't do. But when I looked you up, I saw how you handle people. But I go, I got to do this.
Well, I'm for my tens of fans who are all so grateful. I thank you so much. I've enjoyed this time very much.
You're a professional, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. And congratulations to you and Maureen. May you have 40 more. And I look forward to more you on the screen. And I want to see this Dearly Beloved made longer and more.
I'm going to watch this. And you're going to know about it. All right.
I love it.
God bless you.
Thank you.